Hello everyone, and welcome to the tutorial for new players for Tabletop Simulator and how to play Imperial Assault. So first thing you're going to want to do is you're probably going to want to go through the tutorial here on Tabletop Simulator to learn the controls. It's very short, very simple. It tells you how to pick up objects, how to move them, roll dice. There's a lot of other things that I'll show you once we get in game as well, but it doesn't teach you as far as other hotkeys and what to use. So first, you're just going to want to click single player. You can get new games by going to Steam Workshop here and then open an overlay. These are the mods I have right now. We're going to be getting this one, the Imperial Assault Skirmish. So first you're going to open an overlay. It's going to bring you to the workshop. Now what you want to do is you're going to search Star Wars Imperial Assault. A couple mods will show up. You're looking for the one that currently has Bosk. Now, if new update has already come out and Bosk is no longer on the cover, you're just looking for the one that says Imperial Assault up to date for Skirmish. So you're going to click on this. You don't even have to go inside, really. But you should see a button here for subscribe. I'm already subscribed, so go ahead and click on that and it'll load it up into your game. So from here, you can go ahead and close this. Shift tab out of Steam Overlay. And then in a couple seconds, you should actually have it visible here. So all you have to do is click on it, and it should load that game up for you. This right here, asking you to open or close. It's really dependent on you. It's for music. If you don't want the music, don't bother. You can go ahead and cancel. If you do, hit open. The music will actually open this tablet down here. Now, if the audio is too loud for you, you can always click on it and work it like YouTube. Bring the volume down. Alright. So we got that part. Right here next to the tablet, we got the current tournament maps. The numbers indicate what number you will type over the main map screen over here once you get the map. And I'll show you how to do that later. In this little box are some rule guides. If you're just starting out, you may want to use some of these, or you can always use them for reference. If you right click on the box, you can bring up this menu and click on search, and it'll show you which rule guides we got in here. If you're just learning to play, you can use the learn to play guide. New to Skirmish as well. Pick up the Skirmish guide, and then this rule reference guide is good for everybody. So if you bring this out, the way it works is you hit F to flip it over, and this gives you the index. If you need to look something up specifically, such as, let's say, objects. It says it's on page 20. So if you go ahead and you type 20 over that, and you bring it to this page, now you see the index still. If you have to flip it back over, you're now on the page that has objects. And you can read the rules here. If you push 1, it goes back to the main cover. And you can always drop that back in the box if you're done. Really doesn't matter if you're going to reload the mod later. Here are all the cards you'll need for building your own Skirmish army. I'll go over army building and how to save your army a little bit later after I show you everything else on the playfield and how they work. So here you do have your Imperial, your Rebels, your Mercenary, and your Neutral class card, Neutral Skirmish upgrade cards, as well as your command cards. Figures are all in this box. You can right click, search, and you can get the figure you want. If you need Luke Skywalker, let's say, you can just go ahead and type Luke and you'll find his figure here. You can drag and drop it out of the box. All large figures are actually in these drawers behind the play area. If you need them, just go ahead and pick them up and bring them out. Alright, so the play field. This mod does support 4 players. So you have 4 different starting areas. If you haven't already, go ahead and choose a color. If you don't have a color, go up here, click on your name, change color. You have between red, yellow, green, and purple. Go ahead and choose whichever one you want. Just put your name down here, and then other players can also see your player icon. So in your playfield, you have your dice and a little display as to what those dice can possibly roll. This makes it a little bit more, tactically thoughtful. You can decide whether or not you want to re-roll a die just by looking at the sheet. You don't have to pick up a die and look at all the sides and try to figure it out. This will probably also help you when you play real games, because if you look at this enough, you will probably understand your odds for each die. Alright, so here we have damage tracker sheets. The way these work is you take a figure or a deployment card and you can just place it on the damage tracker. You can use Q and E to rotate the cards to indicate they are used. You do not have to pick up the card to do this. If you do click on the card though, however, it will upright itself, so you can use that at the end of each round to ready your cards. You have numbers 1, 2, 3. This is generally so you can keep the damage off of the board if you want. And down here with your figures. So if we grab a group that has more than one figure, you can number one of them 1, one of them 2. And I'll show you how to do that when we get to building armies. And then you can actually drop damage onto these. They do have magnets, so they will fall in place and stack with each other. And you just hover over any stack, it'll tell you how many damage that has. So there's no real need at the moment for any 5 damage trackers. Alright, so these damage trackers can also have their faction changed. So you just push 1, 2, or 3 over these, they'll change their faction. So 2 is Imperials, 3 is Mercenaries, and 1 is Rebels. If you want to style your army and put the correct color behind them, you could absolutely do that. As far as the dice goes, these little dice here are infinite dice pools. So if you need 2 blue, just left click to drag a die out, and if you are still holding that die, you can right click and it'll pull out another. You can right click on any of these die to pull out what you need while holding another one. You do have to drag when you click on the die though to get it out. If you just click, nothing's going to happen. You have to click and drag and you'll get that die. You can constantly delete the die if you want. We do have infinite here. As you see, I delete them just to keep my playfield clear. Some people like to pull out all the dice they need for each figure and leave them out for play, which is perfectly okay. Alright, here on the sides of the map, we have our damage tokens. So you can do the same thing, click and drag to pull one out, and then you can right click to get more. Now they don't always automatically stack, so there's a hotkey for that. If you hit G, it'll group them, which puts them all in one stack, so we can actually have that nice clean number and they don't fall apart when you try to place them. You have your stun tokens, your weaken tokens, your bleed tokens, your focus tokens, and your hidden tokens. This is also on the opposite side in the opposite order, that way you don't have to reach completely across the table to get that damage token. If you're on this side and they were only over there, you can just click here and grab the close ones. All the information for each token is here. For each status effect, you have hidden, focus, bleeding, weaken, stun. Now, if you have not done the Tabletop Simulator tutorial, you can press Alt to bring up these cards and read them. And this is for all cards, including the deployment cards. And while they're up, you can use your scroll wheel to zoom them in and out to get a closer look at them if you need to. Alright, to the left of these dice here, you have your initiative token. A chance cube for rolling for maybe initiative or choosing which mission to do. Little fun fact, it actually still has numbers. So if you roll this here, it came up with a 4. So if you need to decide maps, you can have the first 1 and 2 be the first map, 3 and 4 be the second map, 5 and 6 be the third map, And then you can roll red and blue for initiative or which mission on the map to do. You have your different mission tokens here. You have your neutrals, your green, your yellow, your red, your blue. These are blank on the opposite side, so don't worry about if you need to use them as a secret, and they're also not named, so if you highlight over, you cannot tell that is yellow when it is flipped over. Now, I think I've hit most of the map. However, do be careful when clicking around this first tile. This map is not locked in place, so you can pick it up and move it. Be careful not to delete it. If you do, you can go ahead and either hit Control Z and back up, or you can go Host, Games, and back to the workshop and start a brand new game or reset everything. Of course, if a player has already built their army and placed it out and they don't have it saved, you're going to delete that as well. So go ahead and be sure to ask them before you do something like that. Give them a chance to save their army before you delete it. So here, all you have to do, if you're not worried about playing on tournament maps, you can just press R, and it'll choose one random map for you. Just happen to just choose one of the tournament legal maps. These are locked in place. You cannot pick them up. You cannot move them. So you're perfectly fine moving your figures, and if you miss a figure and you just click off to the side, or you want to select your dice, it's perfectly okay. You cannot grab this map. And if you do want to choose a different map, you go ahead and just press 1, go back to that front map there again, and hit R again. It'll choose something else random. And it chose another tournament legal map. This is not the perfect example for choosing non-tournament legal maps. So I'll go ahead and randomize it again, and it went back to that. There we go. So Mos Eisley Outskirts, not tournament legal, but if you wanted to play it, you absolutely can. On each of these maps, somewhere on that you will see a miniature version of the map, shows you the deployment zones. If there's any doors, tells you where the doors go. Terminals tells you where to place the terminals, and any other mission specific tokens will tell you where to place them. You have the 2 missions to tell you which ones they are. You can choose randomly how to do, or which one you want to do, flipping a coin, chance cube, whatever. And then when you're done, you can always reset it or reset the whole thing, like I said before. Now that I've gotten pretty much through the board itself, we'll go over army building. So I'm just going to build a simple little army here. So if you have an idea in mind or something you want to look for that's you want to build around a certain character, it's real easy. So let's say I want to build an army around Cain Somos. He's been getting a lot of test play recently due to the advanced comm system. So let's go ahead and try that. So you can right click on any of these decks and you can search. It will bring up every card so you can read them. If you want to know what they do, if you just, you've never really looked through all this stuff. So I do know we need Cain Somos. So you can click and drag them out if you want somewhere else. We need the advanced comm systems because this is what makes them viable now. Not too viable without it at the moment. So, got 11 points. Of course, Cain Somos, you're going to need stormtroopers. Not just any, we want elite stormtroopers. But we don't want one group, we want 2. So there's a couple ways you can increase. There's only one of these cards in the deck. If you need 2, there's a couple ways you can get more. You can right click, you can copy, and then you can right click on an empty space and click paste. Now you have a second. Or, if you're familiar with the shortcuts in Windows, you can use the exact same shortcuts. Hover over the card, hit Control C, move somewhere else, and hit Control V. It will also paste your card for you. So now we have, what do we have, 29 points? Well, we don't want to go all stormtroopers. I've actually seen this. It's actually not a terrible idea. Search, we're going to get temporary alliance, even though we're going troopers. For our troopers, we're going to go ahead and get wing guards. We want the elite versions here. So there's another 10 points. So we've got 20 here, 39 points. We have 1 point left to spare, so we could choose any of these here, but really, I don't know if we want to do Unshakable for Kate Selmos. Suffers one strain. I'm not sure I really enjoy Unshakable. We don't have any force users. Targeting computer. These all have rerolls anyways. So we're going to go ahead and get a 1 cost from here. So we could Zillow, but I don't think that's really going to benefit this army too much. We could Rule by Fear. It's a decent option. Cross-training, we have no real use for spies, but cross-training stormtroopers are often not horrible. They get to roll that white die when they need to. Maybe they got 1 health left and you just need that dodge. Alright, so we'll just go with Rule by Fear. Let's make sure I got my points right here. So you do have to still count your points manually. So pretty much pair all these. We've got 10, 20, 30, 40 points. Alright, now how to save this. Well, there's a couple options. A lot of people like to do this. You can go to Host, Chest, choose Tools, and you can get a bag. So you get this bag, you can put all your cards in here. Also, you build a command deck. Now with command decks, there are some ways you can search. So what I like to do is I actually will move up to where your name is after you've clicked search on the command deck. This way, you can take your cards, and drop them into your hand. Also, if you flip this deck over with F, they'll actually come up upright. So you can look at them. This way I can see how many points I have, and I can rearrange them and make it easier. We do have 1 leader, Kane Somos, and the rest are all troopers. So we want to do trooper cards. Maybe I don't want to do Inspiring Speech, because Advanced Comm Systems doesn't help this adjacency. Just grabbed it but let's see what we have for leaders. So you can actually search your command cards this way. Oops, not leaser, leader. So what leader cards do we have? We can do orders, we have Inspiring Speech, reposition, regroup, stall for time. Now you might think, well, what about planning? Planning has leader in it. Yes, but it is not required to be a leader to use it. You just get a bonus. It's really only, I think it's any figure actually. So any planning is here. Any figure can use planning, which is why you'll find it here. But so let's go ahead and add planning. So we got planning here. Some good trooper cards. We want reinforcements, but we want 2 reinforcements. So we'll do that copy paste. I use the shortcuts. Grenadier, of course. Any trooper list needs Grenadier. Let's grab those musts, like Element of Surprise, and take initiative, negation, and tough luck. Let's see, another one. I'm just actually spacing on the name right now. What are you called? I know the image. It's a relatively new card. Came out with Bespin. I don't know why. I'm not remembering the name. Probably, no, there it is. Disorient. Great card. So I'm going to organize here by points, so I can see how many points I have. Easy to count. So Move around the map, you just use WASD for your left, right, up, down. You can also use the arrows for control of this camera, the pivot camera. But WASD, just like any other shooter, if this is your first time really doing PC for anything in a three-dimensional space, you'll learn your WASD keys through this. So we have 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 points. Well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 cards. So 6 more cards, 6 more points. Let's see, what are some other good? I'm gonna get straight up trooper cards. Rank and file. Each friendly trooper adjacent to you gain 1 movement point. Not that fantastic. Well, I'm just going to start adding random cards for the sake of showing you this rather than building an entire army for you. So I'm just going to need 9 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 cards. So I'm going to just flip this over. I'm going to hit the number 9 and it'll draw me 9 cards. And this, so you got to be careful about grabbing that. Okay, so I'm going to select down here. If you hit G, you'll group them all up into one nice pretty pile. And I can drop them in this bag. Now, when it comes to saving it, right click, save to chest. Now you can create any folder you want if you want. I already have a folder called Skirmish Armies. That's where I save my armies. I'll call this Test Army. So it's saved. Now before you delete it, you want to make sure you actually did save it. Go to Host, Chest, Saved Armies, find your folder that you put it in, and here's my Test Army. So, here it is. If I search, I can see all the cards I have. This, it says 1, you only see 1 command card because that's the whole deck. And then I have all my little deployment cards and skirmish upgrade cards here as well. So we know that works. And I just stacked some cards here. Alright. So there is another way to save your army. Let me get one of these. So what you can do is you can set them up for play. So you put your command deck over here, the command deck area, give it a decent shuffle or whatever. You're going to place your cards out. Kane Somos, he's going to have advanced comm systems. Stormtrooper, Wingguard, Temporary Alliance, and Rule by Fear. So, this is placed out as if I was going to play. You can click and drag to select. Now, quite often when you do that, you'll miss this. So if you hold Control down and click, you add that as well. So now, you can right-click on Kane Somos, and you can save it this way. I Skirmish Armies, sure, let's call it Kane Somos. Delete those cards because I am fairly confident in my abilities to actually save things. And I see it here, Kane Somos. Now you click and drag, don't just click on it, because if you click on it, it's going to spawn it in the middle of the map. Click and drag it to that corner where you started your selection and drop it. And it didn't quite work right for me. Apparently it's linked to my Elite Stormtrooper because that must have been the first one I selected. So it's very important that you select the right ones first. So, or at least consistently. If you do it wrong, you can always fix it. So I know it's linked to that Stormtrooper and he's second in line. So I can just drop here. That's going to place it in the right spot. And I can save it again correctly. So select up here, get Kane Somos selected first. Add this, right click here, on Somos, save to chest, Kane Somos 1. And there we go. Now you don't just have to save the cards, you can also save the figures. So if we need to get Kane Somos, place him on the card, Stormtrooper, and Wing Guards. And you'll notice there's only one of each figure as well, so you'll have to copy and paste them for more. Alright, easy. Now we do have two groups of Stormtroopers, so we do want to set those apart. So we're going to control click each one of these figures, so we're not selecting the card. We're going to right click, color tint, and you can change the color of their bases. We're going to give these ones red bases to make them different from these. Also, before you save, you can also number them. Like I said before, these damage trackers do need numbered figures. They don't come numbered because you don't know how many you'll be needing. So there's only one figure in there. So you just right click, go down to the bottom where it says Stormtrooper, click, and you can type in to add a number. Stormtrooper 1, 2, and 3. I can do the same thing here. Stormtrooper 1, 2, and 3. 2, 3, 1. So you got that. Real simple, real easy. And when it comes time to play, if you need to differentiate your cards, some people like to use these tokens, red for the red group and so on. What I like to do, you can right click after we don't have to, but want to be a little thematic, so we'll change these all to Imperial damage trackers. But you can right click on the damage tracker itself, and you can color tint the damage tracker to match the bases of the armies. So now this damage tracker is red, so we know this group is associated with these Stormtroopers. Now you can save it like this, just like you did before. You can click, drag. I forgot to delete that over there. Oops. Let's undo deleting all of that. So just trying to delete this extra command deck that I left over there from the previous one. So you can zoom out with the scroll wheel if you just want to select all of it like that. Right click, save to chest, Kane Somos 2. And we can go ahead and clear that. And go back to the chest. Saved objects. Skirmish armies. Kane Somos 2. Just drag and drop into that space there. And here are all of your cards, your figures, and your command deck. And just give your command deck a shuffle and you're ready to play. Now there is one problem with saving it like this versus the bag. Yes, it is faster setup. However, if you are not on the same side that you had originally built your army on, it'll show up backwards. I will give you this example. So we just had Kane Somos 2. So if I drag and drop this here, like you normally would, it's actually going to be facing the opposite direction. So it ends up coming messed up. What you want to do, if you showed up on the opposite side of where you built your army, is actually really, really simple on how to fix this. So you go, take your army, and you drag and drop him to the backboard on this wooden stuff here. Just drag and drop like that. That way he doesn't hit anything and interfere. And you're going to just select it all, including the command deck. And then you're going to click to pick it up. And while picked up, just go ahead and hit E to rotate it. You might want to keep it away from your hand because it's going to be one picked up. And now that it's rotated 180 degrees, just drop it. Now you're all set up. This is now the command card pile. All your cards are now in their right spot and you're set up. Easy as that. If you prefer the bag method, you could absolutely do that. Let's see, when it comes to play, I did not come over this. This is how you track your victory points. Up in victory points, down in victory points, reset to 0. I don't think you'll be using that clear, so you can always just reset the entire game after each game, so people can just load in new armies and everything is set up brand new, no cards anywhere. All these cards are still here in case you built an army and the cards are missing. As far as bringing up these maps, I did tell you I would show you how to do that. It's actually real simple. So 5 is Nivelian War Zone, 15 is Training Grounds, and 18 is the landfill. If you've chosen randomly through the 6-sided die, which mission you're going to do, let's say, let's roll this here. So yeah, you click and drag over. You don't actually have to right click and roll. You can, but if you select the die and you just tap R, it will roll for you. New release, it comes down. So 3. So we did this as 1, 2, 3. It means Training Grounds. So we're going to type 15. And it just brings up Training Ground. What else you can do is you can have 3 be the first mission, 4 be the second mission, first mission, second mission. So we're going to be doing reprogrammed. This is the simplest way to choose a random map, in my opinion. Let's see. Anything else? I'm not sure. If you do have any questions, I will absolutely answer them either on our Tabletop Simulator Imperial Assault website or Facebook page, or on the YouTube page. So I hope you all appreciated this tutorial and enjoy playing.